cactus and succulent growers, I'm Lynn and welcome to Desert Plants of Avalon. And today's video I'm going to be talking about all of the cactus and succulent jobs that you need to be doing now it is spring. So happy spring if you're in the northern hemisphere, and happy autumn if you're in the southern hemisphere. Now the plant spring jobs to do, this is always the most exciting time of year because you've got the whole of the growing season, the spring and the summer ahead, and there's always so much to do. I'm sort of at a bit of a dilemma because I'm going to be moving house in 3 weeks time, so there's a lot of plant jobs I normally will be doing at this time of year, such as repotting and probably starting at watering some of the ones as well in the polytunnel, but I'm going to have to hold back a bit longer until after the house move. So but I'm going to be actually talking in this video the jobs that you're meant to be doing, and there's still plenty of jobs I'll have to do as well whether I'm moving or not. So then the first one, and this is the most major one, and I get asked every day about this, it's spring now. So when do I start watering my cacti? And can I start watering? These are questions I'm getting every day. Well, it is spring, but it's not an easy question to answer completely 100%. And the reason for that, it does depend on a few things. First of all, the temperature has a lot to do with it, and where have you got your cacti? Because for most people, although it is spring, it's still too early to move cactus plants out into the garden. And because of that, a lot of you will have your plants indoors, or you'll have them in greenhouses, either unheated greenhouses or heated. And it does really depend so much on the temperature and where you live in the world. So I'm here in Northern Ireland, and the temperature has been absolutely gorgeous the past couple of weeks. We've had lots of sunshine and it's been beautiful. However, the nights have still been extremely cold. It's dropped to 1 degree, a couple of frosty nights as well. And although I have this polytunnel is heated with a heater at 5 Celsius, which is 41 Fahrenheit, I don't want to come in here and just go ahead and water them all, their first watering, because it's still very early spring, and the majority of the cacti are absolutely fine. They don't need a watering because they're still quite plump, even if they could do with a bit of watering very soon. So if you have your cacti in an unheated environment, either a cold unheated room where you're overwintering them, or you have them in an unheated greenhouse, or greenhouse that's just kept with minimal heating, frost-free, such as I have with my heater, then I would hold back on watering until the second week at least of April, basically until the chances of any really cold nights have passed, because cacti may shrivel a bit but they're not going to die. It's a little touch and go. It can be a bit dodgy at this time of year. However, if you have cacti that are clearly stressed because they are very shriveled, and I'll show you an example here, because despite moving house or not, I'm going to have to give these a water in the next few days, regardless of the temperatures. This is one of my Echinocerius here, clearly very shriveled, going red with sort of stress, and one of my Echinopsises as well, really wrinkled. And I've got Repotting that's coming into bud, which is really exciting. So I don't want to wait until I move house in 3 weeks' time to start these up. They're in tiny pots. They're not like the bigger cacti that can go longer without watering. So in this case, in the next few days, I will give them a light watering just to set them up and get them going and get them to fill up their cells again, their bodies. But all of my larger cacti, I'm going to hold off, even if I wasn't moving house, because as I say, it's still quite early in the spring. So middle of April is a general guide to start watering your cacti. However, if you have your cacti indoors, especially if they're in a sunny window and the house is quite warm, then you definitely can now. You definitely can go ahead and start them up with a bit of watering. I actually made a video the other day on watering my indoor cacti and euphorbia for the first time after winter, and you can watch that video up above. Do go ahead and watch it after this one, because I mention a bit more in there as well why I'm watering my indoor cacti now, but I'm holding back with my cacti here in the polytunnel, because obviously it's much cooler in here, and although they're in a polytunnel, it's sort of like an outdoor environment in a way as well. So a couple of weeks bit longer, middle of April, is not going to hurt them. It's also going to be easier for me when I move as well. But saying that, I have had to water some of my cacti, such as my epiphyllums, and I did a video actually the other day, I think it was on a couple of days ago, and I watered all of my epiphyllums and given them their first tomato feed, because they're epiphytes and they're rainforest cacti, so they can't shrivel, and this is also when they do start to grow their buds, so I've had to go ahead and water them. As you can see here, little buds starting to form, so that's great, and they're fattening up really nice. So again, when I'm talking about cacti and waiting till the middle of April if you're in a cool environment, then it also depends on your cactus that you're growing as well. If you're growing desert cacti such as these here, they can certainly go longer without water, but if you have epiphytes such as these ripsalis and epiphyllums, you know, they will need to be watered now regardless of the temperatures. They're also much more forgiving of colder temperatures and being watered, because they are rainforest as well, so they can take water, you know, even if it is a bit cold, they need to have it. So basically that's it. It's not an easy question to answer, but if you have cacti and they're very shriveling and they're showing signs of stress, then do give them a bit of water. You can even take them into the inside temporarily if you're worried about the cold temperatures in a greenhouse as well, but other than that, you're pretty much okay. Cacti are tough, they can go another couple of weeks without watering. These are all showing signs of buds here, which is great, but I won't be watering these now until the middle of April, probably once I've moved house as well. So that's that. It's not an easy question to answer, as I know, when it comes to the watering, but if I do come in here and give some of these a bit of water, maybe in a few days time, the ones I really have to, then I will film a wee video as well, because these are only in small pots, and Repotting and Camaceras and that are quite tough even if it gets cold and they're being watered at this time of year. So then that's the watering. The second one, which is always exciting, is seed sowing. And this is the time of year you think about, you know, sowing seeds. It's spring. I've got some Camaceras hybrid seeds here, which I'm also going to have to wait till I move house. So I don't want to be sowing seeds this side of everything. But it's a great time of year if you've got cactus seeds to start sowing seeds. So do go ahead, sow your seeds now. I've made a video on how to grow cacti from seeds, which I like to use the baggy method. But it's not a necessity. You don't have to use the baggy method. But if you want to know how to grow cacti from seed and you've never done it before, do check out a video I've made on how to grow cactus from seed. Link to that video will also be up above. Do go ahead and watch it after this one. The third one, which is always most important, is keeping an eye out for any pests, because as the warmer temperatures appear and the days start to get longer, unfortunately so do the pests wake up, just as the plants are, and you may notice more mealybugs and other pests with the warmer temperatures. So it's really important that you keep an eye on. Go through your plant collection and use a little magnifying loupe as well if you want to look really close up. Lift plant pots up and look underneath for any signs of beasts. That's perlite, by the way, guys. And do treat any pests if you see any. I like to use the rubbing alcohol, and I put a little bit into a little bowl here with the little brush, and if I see any beasties, I will then sort of dab them off. And also with the spray as well, I put some rubbing alcohol into a little spray bottle here, and I spray any mealybugs I see on the cacti as well. And still keeping on top of it, it really is so important, because this is when you start to notice the beasties. The rubbing alcohol is quite safe as well, as long as you don't use it during sunny weather. If you're going to use it, you're best to wait until it's a sunless day, or when the sun has gone down in the evenings, or take the plant out to treat it before putting it back in. I like to also start up the neem oil as well in the springtime. usually after I've given them their first watering, and then I'll start to use up the neem oil, and I use that with horticultural soap. But neem oil is absolutely brilliant. It's messy, it's time consuming, but it works. But you do have to keep using it. It's not one thing that you just spray them with and bugs are gone. It's more of a preventative as well, because it will help to prevent pests, and it's actually really good for the plants, and it's great for the soil, so you don't have to worry. You can spray them with the neem oil and it goes into the soil. It helps to prevent insect pests, and it's even beneficial for the soil. It's brilliant. And I have made a video on how to use neem oil for cacti and succulents, so do go ahead and watch that video as well, because it's an absolutely brilliant. I swear by neem oil. If I don't keep on top of it, after a couple of months in the spring or summer, bugs will start to come back. It's really good stuff. So I'll link a video up above as well. Watch it after this one on how I make up the neem oil and how I mix it and how I use it, I should say. How I use it and how I mix it up and everything. Obviously, because I'm going to be moving, I'm going to be doing it the other end, so there's a lot of things I'm going to have to put off a wee bit longer. But when I start it up the other end, I'm going to show you all of that as well. Also, while I'm talking, sorry to get off topic, guys, obviously you guys know, if you know, I'm going to be moving house, so this is why the polytunnel looks an absolute mess at the moment. There is absolutely plants everywhere because I'm going through everything and arranging for things to be boxed up. I'm getting crates all ready and everything like that, so apologies for the mess. I usually like to have things very organised and tidy in here, so I hate living like this and I hate the polytunnel looking like it, but it's the way it goes. Also, when we do move, I've got a new greenhouse that I'm going to be getting as well. The greenhouse company are very, very busy at this time of year. So when we move, we may not have a greenhouse for a couple of months. Luckily, it's spring, so the majority of these plants can go just straight out into the garden. And I may be able to put the tables up, some plants underneath, some heavier ones on the top, and just loosely throw some loose bubble wrap over them when it's rainy to keep excess rain off. So I'm going to try and do my best until we get the new greenhouse. But you guys are going to be following me on my journey, so it's going to be fun and games, and it's going to be an experience anyway. And it also gives me a chance to get the garden all tidied up and sorted, the new garden ready for when the greenhouse comes. So I'll keep you all updated, and I hope you join me on my house move when I'm packing all these plants up, going on the van. It's going to be fun and games, guys. Anyway, sorry to go off topic. I waffle on a lot, and that's the way I am. So anyway, yep, I've talked about the watering, I've talked about the mealybugs and spider mites, keep on top of the pests, and also seed sowing. The next thing to do is this is exciting, to check for any buds, and this is not a job, this is actually a pleasure, but it's just something that I want to mention. For example, here I can see there is buds coming on my Repottias there, and quite a few that are just suddenly starting. I've got my echeverias that are all budding up there as well, which is mega exciting. I've got beautiful blooms coming up on there as well, all signs of buds coming, which is exciting to have a look. And I'll just show you this as well that I've noticed over here. Yep, the echinopsises are also budding up, and I've got some of my Camaseriases just starting to send out buds there. Again, this is very shriveled because it's gone red, so I'm going to have to water these up soon anyway. And little buds coming up on there, and buds on my Echinocerius gentris. You see buds there. Whoa, this is so exciting. Buds come in, and you can just see the little red buds just starting to come through there, and that is a really exciting to see that. As you can see, they're popping out, just popping out of the skin. So it's always exciting to sort of check for buds as well. Not a job, just more of an exciting thing to do, but I thought I'd mention that as well. Lovely flowers there. So it's exciting. Yeah, even this Echinocactus Grusoni nudum, that is also showing signs of buds just starting to come through there as well. So that is a mega exciting thing. The next thing is obviously make a list of any plants that you want to repot over the spring and summer months. I have quite a lot. So just make a little list of any you want to repot. You can also stick little labels on them just to remind yourself of any that you do want to repot. I have quite a lot that I will need to be doing the other end as well. And Also labels, plant labels. I love to label all my plants, but the labels have a strange habit of just disappearing, and the ones that stay on are always fading. This one here is one of the mesems. It's sort of related to lithops. Again, it's going to need watering. It's gone very sort of reddy brown because it needs a good first watering, but I can't remember the name of it. The label has completely gone off. I will be able to look it up. So it's really important to sort of keep on top of any labels, rewrite any, and although it's not a necessity to have plants with all labels in the pots, I like to have them labelled. So even though I might know what genus it is, for example, all these are Lophophora, I always like to know what types, because sometimes I have many different varieties, and it sort of annoys me when I lose the labels, and it's not always easy to spend hours online trying to ID the type of cactus you have. You might know it's a ferro-cactus or a gymnocalcium, but you can't remember the second name of it, and there are quite a few that look similar until they're coming to flower. So labelling as well. I've got a lot to do again the other end when I move, so I'm going to be very busy even before we get the greenhouse, so that's going to be fun. And the next thing is obviously tweezers here, and this is good to check for any sort of dead flower heads that need coming off as well on the cacti. Here are some dead flower heads here. Good just to remove the dead flower heads, because this is a time of year now when the new buds wanting to come out, so it's good to remove the old. This is one of my Echinopsis subdenudatas, but that's off. They've gone now. So these ones from the last summer, they can come off, and then it means it nice and clear then for the new buds that will form. So the tweezers are great for any flower heads, also seed pods as well. If you see any seed pods that need to come off, again I can't show you any here because I haven't got any, I've been taking them off. These are great as well to remove the seed pods. So these long handled tweezers are brilliant for doing little jobs. To show you, buds are coming on there as well, my Aporocactus. Excited to see. Anyway, and then also the things with succulents as well. This is important with the dead leaves. These long handle things are great for removing the dead leaves on Echeverias. Pull them off like that. This is what some I've been doing earlier in the little bucket here. All these dead leaves. And tweezers are great. And I have made a complete video on removing dead leaves from Echeverias. So I'll also link that video up above. And watch it after this one, because succulents can get very untidy looking if you don't remove the dead leaves. Also, if you leave them on, not only do they look unsightly, but mealybugs and other insect pests can hide in between the dead leaves as well. So tweezers are great for removing these. Again, my succulents are very shriveled, so I'm going to have to start them up with a bit of watering. As you can see, they're going to need watering very soon, so I will come in and do a video on there. They're not looking the best, but once I give them a water and a bit of a tidy up, removing the dead leaves, they really do come alive, especially the Echeverias, and a lot of them are coming into bud already. As I mentioned, you can see the little flower spikes starting to come up on them. Beautiful. The next thing is little scissors and that, or pruning shears. They're great to remove any of the dead leaves, such as on this aloe here. I'll sort of cut them off. Just tidies the plant up a bit and gets it all prepared for the spring. The next thing you need to think about now it's spring is the fertilizing, and it's always good when I give them their very first water, which for the majority of these, as I mentioned, will be the middle of April. I give them just plain old-fashioned water just to start them up with, and then with the second watering I give them, that's when I give them a fertilizer. And I've mentioned many times my favourite fertilizer, and that is tomato feed. And the tomato feed I love to use because it is high in potassium, which helps to encourage buds, which is perfect for this time of year. But I use the tomato feed at half of the strength that they would recommend for tomatoes because obviously cacti are slow growing plants, so they don't need the high strength of tomato feed like they recommend for tomatoes. It's just enough to encourage budding and also to help keep them healthy. So I use it at half the strength, and I've again another video, sorry about all these video links guys, but I've made a video on why I like to use tomato feed for my cacti, and I show you how I make it up and mix it up as well. So do go ahead and watch that video after this one. I'll link that video also up above. And of course, once I've moved and I do give them their first fertilizer, I will also redo another video as well to show you. The last one will be checking that you've got all the soil mediums that you need, as well as pots. Make sure that you've got plenty size pots for all of the repots that you want to do, and also all the soil mediums. I always like to make sure I have plenty of loam. In this case, I love to use John Innes number 2, and I use a brand by Clover because it's very good quality. But any type of good quality John Innes number 2, I find it's a good all-rounder for cacti, mixed with grit and horticultural sharp sand and horticultural grit. I use it at 3 equal parts, and I use that for the majority of my cacti and succulents, but I do change the mix around depending on the type of cactus or succulent I'm repotting, but that's the one I tend to use in general. So if you like to know how I make my own cactus and succulent soil, do check out a video I've made on how to make cactus soil in 3 easy steps, and I'll also link that video up above. So then guys, that's the spring jobs that you need to do with your cacti and succulents. Sort of in early spring jobs, there's sort of more jobs to do sort of later on. But as I say, it's all up in the air for me because I'm going to be moving house. Very exciting. Very, very, very excited about it. But I will have to come in here and give some watering to the plants, such as this one, this Ananthocamphoceros. This is very shriveled too. So do stay tuned for a video coming up in the next week when I give some of these their first watering of the year. So thank you so much for watching everyone, and if you haven't done already, do please subscribe and click that notification bell, and do give this video a like, and also do leave a comment because every comment really helps the algorithm for me. Even a heart or smiley face, I really appreciate all of your likes and all of your comments and all of your hearts and smiley faces. Do check out my website as well, desertplantsofavalon.com, for lots of growing tips and articles on there. And as I say, do stay tuned for my up and coming videos when I'm going to be moving house. It's going to be fun and games to move all of these giants, and we've got a couple of good friends coming to help us, so I don't really envy them, because although we're into cacti, they're not. So it's not going to be very easy for them moving these guys. But as I say, it's all part of the journey, and life is meant to be like that. Meant to be fun. So thank you so much guys again for watching, and I want to wish you all an absolutely awesome cactus powered day.